America had eyes in the sky that were supposed to see everything, but then came a strike that raised a question shaking the entire region. How did Iran get so close to one of the most heavily guarded American aircraft, and why is Russia being mentioned more and more loudly in connection with this? If this is true, it's not just another attack on an American base. This is the moment when it became clear that even the flying brain of the United States may not be untouchable. And right now we'll break down what happened, how Iran was able to strike so precisely, and why this could be a much bigger problem than it seems at first glance. Iran didn't strike a marginal target, but the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, which is one of the key bases from which the Americans conduct their operations in the region. The attack came as a combination of drones and missiles, and the result was immediate. American soldiers were injured, there was chaos on the base, and damaged aircraft that were supposed to be relatively safe there, far from the direct battlefield. That alone was a strong message that Iran can strike deep and accurately. But the biggest shock came when among the damaged aircraft, the E-3 Sentry or Airborne Warning and Control System was mentioned, a plane that serves as the flying eyes and brain of all further operations for the Americans. The Wall Street Journal reported that this aircraft was among those hit. And if that's true, it's not just a routine incident, but a strike at one of the most sensitive nerves of the American military presence in the Persian Gulf. Suddenly, it was no longer just about Iran attacking again. It was about the fact that something that is supposed to give the United States an overview of the entire battlefield came under fire. And that changes the whole story. If a missile or a drone damages a tanker, it's a problem. But when we're talking about hitting an airborne warning and control system, that's a whole different league. Such an aircraft isn't just used for monitoring the skies. It helps control fighter jets, intercept threats, and keep the entire airspace under control. And that's why today it's not just a question of what Iran hit, but how it even managed to reach such a target. The United States Air Force no longer has a large fleet of airborne warning and control system, since there used to be more than 30 E-3 Sentry aircraft in the American arsenal. But today, only about 16 remain. And that's important because this isn't a machine you can just replace from the hangar next door. The United States Air Force itself lists the price of the E-3 at around $270 million. And today's closest replacement, the E-7 Wedgetail, costs more than $700 million per unit. Just from this, it's clear that hitting such an aircraft isn't an ordinary loss, but a blow worth hundreds of millions. It looks even more serious when you look at the Middle East. According to available information, 6 of them were deployed in the region, and Reuters captured exactly 6 of these aircraft at the Prince Sultan base. According to available reports, however, it wasn't several airborne warning and control systems that were hit, but one specific E-3 Sentry, while among the other damaged aircraft there were also tankers. In other words, we're not talking about the massive elimination of the entire fleet, but about the hit on one extremely valuable aircraft, whose loss was still many times greater than that of an ordinary plane. And that's why it's clear why this had to trigger an alarm in Washington. When you have only about 16 of these aircraft in your entire fleet, you keep 6 of them in one of the most explosive places on the planet, and during an attack, one of them gets hit. It's not just a technical problem. It's a message that Iran has managed to get to something that's supposed to be almost untouchable for America. And this is where the whole story takes a turn. You can't hit a target like this just by firing missiles in the right direction. If Iran really managed to get to an aircraft like the Airborne Warning and Control System, it means they didn't strike blindly. Someone had to know what was on the base, where the most valuable machines were, how the equipment was distributed on the ground, and when there was a chance to hit something that truly mattered to the Americans. And it's exactly at this moment that the Russian connection comes fully into the story. Reuters had previously reported that Russia had been providing Iran with intelligence about American targets in the region, including the locations of ships and aircraft. Later, there were also reports that Moscow had been supplying Tehran with satellite images and helping it improve its drones and the accuracy of its attacks. In other words, if Iran received Russian eyes from space and Russian insight into American deployments, it was suddenly no longer just another drone and missile attack. It was an attack that could have been backed by precise preparation and very specific data, and that might be the most unsettling part about it. Because at that point, America is no longer fighting just Iran. It's fighting a combination of Iranian weapons and Russian intelligence. One player provides the means of attack, the other can provide the eyes, the map, and an overview of where it will hurt the most. And if this version of events is confirmed, then the attack on Prince Sultan was not just an act of retaliation. It was a very clear message that even the most valuable American aircraft can become targets when Tehran and Moscow join forces at a certain point. And that brings us to an even bigger picture. If Iran really attacked with the help of Russian data, then this is not just a story about one base in Saudi Arabia. It's an example of how modern warfare works today. One country launches missiles and drones, another can provide satellite images, an overview of targets, and information that turns an ordinary attack into a precisely guided strike. And that's bad news for the United States. Not because they've suddenly lost all their advantage, but because their most expensive and sensitive systems are clearly no longer out of reach when weapons and quality intelligence data are combined against them. In practice, this doesn't just mean damage to the fuselage of one aircraft, it also means pressure on the entire American operation in the region. Every hit on such a machine forces the command to rethink or relocate their tactics, change the base protection regime, disperse aircraft more, and accept that even the rear areas, which were supposed to be safe, may no longer be safe at all. And the smaller the overall fleet of airborne warning and control system, the more painful each loss is, because the burden automatically falls on the remaining aircraft and crews. For Washington, this is bad news for another reason as well. The United States of America still has a huge advantage in aviation, logistics, and technology, but attacks like these show that even a superpower can have a problem when the opponent is able to threaten an extremely expensive and irreplaceable system with a cheaper strike. And that's doubly true for the airborne warning and control system. It's not just an airplane. It's a flying command center, providing battlefield awareness and the ability to react before the opponent does. When a machine like this comes under fire, it's not just about damage to equipment. It's a blow to the confidence with which America has operated in this region for years. And that's why this attack won't be seen as just another episode in the tension between Iran and the United States of America. It will be remembered as the moment when it became clear that even America's flying eyes might not be out of reach. One of the most valuable machines of the American Air Force came under fire, and with that, an even bigger question was raised. Not only whether Iran can strike hard, but whether we are witnessing the birth of a model of war in which a cheaper attacker, with the help of a stronger partner, can threaten even the most expensive symbols of American power. For Americans, it's a warning that military superiority no longer depends only on the number of planes, ships, and bases. It also depends on who sees first, who can assess the target more accurately, and who can combine weapons with intelligence into a single strike. And when airborne warning and control system serves the United States as flying command and battlefield overview, then even the damage to a single such aircraft hurts much more than the first report of the attack suggests. Especially at a time when America has only about 16 of them left, and 6 of those were stationed in the very region where the strength and prestige of Washington are now being decided. So if this attack revealed anything, it wasn't the weakness of a single aircraft, but rather the weakness of the idea that America's most expensive systems are automatically untouchable. And if Iranian weapons really did meet Russian intelligence in the hunt for America's eyes in the sky, then that's a message that will echo in the Pentagon for a long time. Or today isn't won by firepower alone. It's won by whoever has better eyes, better data, and who can blind the enemy before they even realize what happened.
If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a like, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next ones I'm working on. You can support my work through a tip. To help the video reach more people, click praise. Thanks.